Hello, viewers. Imagine if someone had all those needles stuck in their body, how would they feel? Today's movie is about this. The film's story begins with Laris, who calls her sister Ayu and apologizes to her. Ayu didn't like her work, and actually Laris used to do wrong things. She had a relationship with many boys and wanted to quit her job. Ayu was angry with Laris, so she didn't answer her call. Ayu is a makeup artist. Laris went to meet her client, but she was left by her friend, a taxi driver who also likes Laris. That client's wife and daughter still wanted to keep a relationship with Laris. Laris told him that she would never meet him again. Saying this, she leaves. Then that man attacks Laris and tries to force her. Laris runs to save her life, calls Ayu, but Ayu doesn't answer the call because of anger. That man starts beating Laris badly and tells her in the balcony that if she doesn't meet him, she won't meet anyone. Saying this, he throws Laris down. Because of this, 24 fractures occur in Laris's body. Now Laris was in the hospital, and doctors tell Ayu that a part of Laris's brain is dead, and only a miracle can save her. Doctors show Ayu an X-ray in which they see many needles in Laris's brain. Everyone was surprised to see that this case was out of the doctor's control. Laris's news had spread, and now Laris's friend tells Ayu that Laris should go to the village and show it to Shaman, a witch doctor who works to drive away ghosts. Ayu refused because she was sure that Laris would be fine in a few days. But Laris dies, and suddenly Laris's body starts shaking, and she gets up and sits down. That means she is alive again. On the way, the patient with Laris sees someone standing, but Ayu can't see anything. Laris wakes up, whom Ayu takes care of. Seeing this, Ayu is ready to take Laris to Shaman, and they go to Laris's childhood home. Now Ayu meets the police officer there and asks about Shaman who could cure Laris. Then he tells him about a shaman. Now Ayu meets Shaman and tells him about Laris's accident. The village goons group also sees Laris because Laris's news had spread everywhere. Now seeing an old video, Ayu remembers Laris where Laris says that surgery is expensive. We get P and both joke. P is actually needles made of black magic, which is applied to the body to increase beauty so that a person remains young and beautiful for a long time. The needles are made of gold and precious metals, and this is done like a ritual, in which the needles protect demons and ghosts, so the human body is in danger of ghosts and spirits. Now, P is used to cure people, but if it is used more or ignored, it becomes a curse, and those ghosts enter the human body. Those who wear P, if they fall ill or become a victim of an accident, they have to suffer for a long time because their body is bound by magic. Then Ayu gets a bad smell from a dummy whose face was broken. When Ayu removes his broken face, he sees a rotten face in it. There were holes in it, and he sees Laris's face in a dummy's face. But when Laris's friend came and saw, everything was normal. The next day, Shaman comes and takes out a needle from Laris's face, which hurts Laris, and she tries to stop Shaman as if there is someone in it. Laris licks Shaman's face, but Shaman calms her down and starts going from there. On the way, he tells that the P in Laris's body is not normal P, and they should leave Laris thinking she is dead. Ayu does not agree, and Shaman leaves from there. Ayu searches for a P expert on the net, and she also found a P expert. Suddenly, Laris wakes up, and Ayu sees Laris on the mobile screen. But when she turns around, Laris was lying on the bed. Looking at this, Ayu's mobile phone falls. Now when Ayu picks it up, he sees a ghost standing there. But the next moment there was no one there. Now Laris points to one side, and that ghost starts scaring Ayu again. The next day we found out that Shaman had died, whose face had a scar. Gunda tells the villagers about the P that all this happened because of P. Ayu tells Laris's friend to go to the expert and ask for help. The villagers also found out that Shaman had died. Laris's friend tells the expert that Laris recovered only when Shaman prayed for her, and when he heard about Laris's condition, he was ready to help. Ayu apologizes to Laris for not picking up the call that day and goes back to Laris. Then he sees that Laris's body is in pain. Ayu cleanses the wound on her stomach, in which she sees an eye. Seeing this, her mind gets dizzy. Then someone came out of the closet, which Laris was able to see, and he scares Ayu. Then Laris's friend came there and everything seems normal. They brought Laris to the expert. Ayu tells them to stay out of it because Laris's body has a lot of pee and his body is colliding with them. Now the expert starts taking out Laris's pee. Then a lot of splashes come out of Laris's mouth. The ghost inside Laris says that he will not leave the body. The expert takes out the pee one by one, and he got to see a lot of ghosts inside Laris, but he took out the pee, after which Laris calmed down. And here the expert was very surprised to know that one pee has not come out yet, which Laris had warned before, and that pee is very powerful. So if the expert takes it out, Laris will not be able to tolerate it and her life can be lost. He was telling all this to Laris's friend. It is known that Laris's friend loves Laris, but he could never tell her because according to him she is not worthy of Laris. But Laris told her sister Ayu that I think my friend will never accept me. That is, both liked each other but never told each other. Laris was getting better now. But the villagers say bad things about Laris to Ayu, that her sister is a witch and she should die. Hearing this, Ayu started crying. That goon also started telling Ayu wrong things about his mother, which was fine. He says that your mother also had friendship with a lot of boys like Laris. Undoubtedly go and ask this to the police officer, because he and your mother also had a relationship. And your father is also different. Hearing this, Ayu completely breaks. Now Ayu learns everything from the police officer, that his mother was the most beautiful in the village. And a lot of people started loving her and started making a relationship with her. But when he married a man, Laris was born. But his mother also had a relationship with another man, with whom Ayu was born. When your mother's husband found out about this, he tried to kill your mother. Because of this, the villagers came in anger and killed that man. Your mother was saved, but she was like a living corpse. Her heart was rotten like Laris's. His mother also had hiccups. Shaman was hired to remove his hiccups. She couldn't take out all the hiccups, so they ritualized and buried her mother, so that the ghost of his mother's hiccups can remain calm in the grave. Laris's body started freezing again, so his friend says that he should let Laris go, because we did everything. And in this way, Laris is also suffering. Now the police officer tells Ayu that the man who gave birth to Ayu is me. That is, you are my daughter, I am your father. Hearing this, Ayu leaves from there in grief. There we see the ghost inside Laris, where Laris was getting better, and she tries to get close to her friend. Then Ayu comes and sees it, but Laris was lying on the bed in the same condition. Ayu thinks that Laris's friend was taking advantage of Laris, so she tells him to go away from there. When he was going at night, he sees the group of goons going to Laris's house, and stops them, which causes a fight between them. Ayu sees a small Laris inside the house, which takes him to his mother when she was drowning. Then the same ghost attacks Ayu from behind. The police officer and the expert come and save him. The expert tells Ayu that Laris is dead, and the ghost of the urination has taken over Laris's body. He takes Ayu and the officer out and starts the ritual. There was one thing between Laris and her mother. Like Laris, that lady shaman could not take out all the pee from her mother's body. That's why the lady shaman buried her in her mother's grave. So now Laris will have to be buried in the same grave if she is not cured. The goon instigates the villagers to take Laris and Ayu out of the village. The villagers get angry and go to Laris's house. Here the expert was doing the ritual to take out the last breath. But the ghost throws the expert away. Then someone gets inside the expert too, and Laris and the expert both start fighting, who were making sounds like animals. Then the expert sees that Laris is fine, or the expert was about to take out the last breath. Then Laris eats the flesh of the expert's throat. As if she is thirsty for blood, she kills the expert. Seeing this, Ayu and the officer's feet are covered with dirt. Now the police officer ties Laris in a cloth and tells her that she will have to be buried in her mother's grave. Then the villagers come here, and they kill the police officer. On the way back, Ayu and Laris's friend take her to the grave. The goon follows them, but Laris's friend kills him with a car. Now they reach the graveyard. Ayu sees a cloth tied to a stone. and Ayu realizes that maybe this is the thing that has stopped the ghost inside her mother in that grave. Now they dig her mother's grave, in which her corpse was not at all rusted. It was just like before. It was fresh. Then the ghost stands up again and attacks Ayu. Then Laris's friend saves her, but Laris kills him. Now Laris becomes normal and hugs Ayu. Then Ayu apologizes to her. She knew that this was the trick of that ghost. So she throws Laris in the grave, and the ghost leaves. That means he had calmed down. Now Ayu closes the grave. She sits in Laris's friend's taxi and returns, and becomes normal as if nothing had happened. She was sad because she lost everyone she loved in her life. Actually, the person who has these sais cannot die peacefully until all the sais leave his body. Now only the person who has put those sais in that person's body can remove these sais. So this movie clearly tells us how far people can go to get beauty. And we should stay away from such sais or anything, because things like sais can give us happiness for a while, but it can ruin our whole life. So a person should not be so beauty conscious about his beauty. And with this message, this story ends here.